Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. And this is the year of 2026, where technology is advancing at a rapid pace, where AI is reshaping society as we know it. We are truly living in the digital age. Which brings me to the main topic of this video, which is social media. Social media has never been bigger than it is right now. Billions of users scrolling every single day with platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, reshaping an entire generation thinks, feels, and how they see themselves. But it's becoming crystal clear that this explosion is taking a heavy toll on young people's mental health and especially young women. Which brings me to two different videos I'm going to be reacting to, and I'm going to give you my initial thoughts, and we'll take it from there.
Silicon Valley getting a wake-up call after Meta and Google were found liable for making their platforms addictive in that landmark social media trial. And in Colorado, one teen has seen the dangers of big tech firsthand. Hallie Zilberman surveyed over 1,000 teenage girls nationwide to better understand today's mental health crisis. The results revealed some common contributors to negative mental health, one being social media, which is why Hallie chose to delete her own Snapchat and Instagram. Hallie Zilberman joins us now. So great to see you this morning, Hallie. Thank you for joining us. I love this. You're 17 years old, and without probably any help from any adult or any sort of doctor or any institution, you recognized that there was a danger attendant with this social media. What was it that made you kind of deep down realize that there was probably a problem with these social media platforms?
Yeah, well, I surveyed over 1,000 teen girls in America, and in my results, I saw that social media was just a driving factor of all mental health issues, anxiety, depression. And I decided that, I can have agency with my own life and I can
Hmm.
do what I can do and make my own life better. So, yeah.
And that's marvelous. And do you get the sense that this is something that affects girls more than boys?
No, I don't think it affects girls more than boys. It's hard to say. What I will say is that, and this might be a generalization,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of girls struggle with body image. And I saw that in my results. And I saw that struggles with body image tied to, again, almost every single mental health outcome. So I think, yeah, that's what I will say. But it's hard to make generalizations,
So,
I guess.
of course. So looking at the results, what were some of the things you found that were affected among these respondents by social media?
Well, one of the things that I saw that also was tied to social media use was that 52% of respondents were sleep deprived. They didn't think they were
Oh,
getting the
interesting.
recommended 7 to 9 hours per night. And sleep deprivation is also linked to higher stress, lower happiness, worse mental health overall. And, when kids are staying up every night scrolling,
Yeah.
that's also a function of social media as well. So.
Well, Hallie, I thank you so much for coming on and joining us, and I thank you for having the uncommon wisdom at 17 years old to recognize what a problem this is and the importance of studying it in a factual-based way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about what Hallie said. So, Hallie actually conducted a survey on over 1,000 teenage girls nationwide. And what she has discovered is nearly half have considered self harm in the past 6 months. Around 60% feel overwhelmed every day or experience intense pressure to be perfect. 52% are sleep deprived from late night scrolling. Almost 45% report body image struggles tied directly to social media. So, what this tells you, if you connect the dots, you realize that heavy social media use is causing the rise of anxiety, depression, and and low self esteem. And this is data from teens themselves. So it makes it impossible to dismiss. Definitely very interesting and concerning for sure. Um, there is an article that Hallie actually wrote. I thought that was very interesting. Let's take a quick look at it. And right here, Mental Health Across Generations. If you're interested in reading it, definitely check it out. But I just want to read something here that I highlighted in the article, which was referring to notorious provocation of comparison, tendency to isolate, and fueling the fear of missing out, FOMO. You don't know how many times I've been hearing FOMO all over the goddamn internet. It's everywhere, bro. um, but the reason why this stood out to me was because there were so many relationships that I have witnessed that didn't work out because of FOMO. So not only that this is causing mental health issues, but it's also bleeding into relationships as well. And trust me on this, I have witnessed it firsthand. But definitely I agree with this 100%. So yeah, definitely. So this girl is realizing the ramifications of social media on young people. So definitely very concerning. So, okay, I do have a second video that I want to react to, and it's a little bit more deeper. And what I'm going to say is that it was definitely very insightful, very educational. It's an hour long. Obviously, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but this one is much more deeper. It's Freya India on trigonometry. She's a Gen Z writer. She just wrote a book called Girls, and it's about how social media has turned young women into products. Definitely very interesting and insightful for sure. So let's take a quick look at that.
Nearly half of Gen Z adults wish social media was never invented, which you don't really get with any other invention. Other women were relentlessly sold products and procedures, but we are the product. But this is happening from maybe age 12. Companies like Facebook will even track if, a user uses a word like worthless or insecure and then send them an ad.
When I was reading the book, I was thinking the pandemic must have a significant part to play in all this.
Yeah.
It must do.
Teenagers were already social distancing before the pandemic. So you have online communities, you have online porn, you have online therapy, you have online lectures, online delivery services. You just don't have to look a human in the eye at all.
Freya India, welcome back to Triggernometry.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back.
Oh, it's great to have you. Listen, when we first interviewed you, it was very clear that you were a very talented writer, but you were still, I think, working part-time in a cafe. And since that time, your Substack's exploded. You've written this great book, which I'm sure will be a big success. You're on all the big shows now. And I think it's because the message that you are delivering and the things that you're talking about is actually something that the entire world is now concerned about. What have you made of the journey you've had so far, if nothing else?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you asked me to come on, I was literally cleaning toilets in the cafe. So it's very meaningful to be back. I think that Jonathan Haidt obviously has accelerated this conversation and he's given the foundation for a lot of the stats in the book. But I kind of think of it, when I first came on, I was talking about the first part of a story, which was a generation falling apart. And that's what psychologists like Jonathan Haidt, Jean Twenge have all been talking about, which is the rise in anxiety, depression, self-harm, suicide among Gen Z. But the book is really the second part of the story, which is a generation being remade. So what we were turned into. And I actually think that young women have turned from people into products, and that the reason we're unhappy is because we're no longer human, or at least treating ourselves as human.
Do you think that part of it is we've just got more powerful technology now? Like, women have always been treated as a product by the people who could sell them stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And profit from their insecurities, from their natural tendencies to feel certain ways about their looks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now we're just in a place where the technology is so much more powerful.
Yeah. So the book is all age-old anxieties that every generation of women has felt. So it's like how you look, how you feel, your relationships, everything. But it's all been magnified now until it's unmanageable. And then it's more sinister than that. It's actually been exploited by all of these industries and companies. And so, yeah, I think other generations of women would say they've been objectified or treated like a product. But I think this is like the core experience of girls today is commodification. So every experience of growing up whether it's, dealing with your developing body or going on your first date, it's all commodified and intruded upon by the market.
Tell us more about that. Like, what does that mean, commodified?
Well, so you're constantly marketing and selling yourself. So all through adolescence, you're performing, obsessively analyzing your metrics, and then your self-worth is determined by your ratings and reviews online. But this is happening from maybe age 12. Let's say you're on Instagram at age 12. Then your entire experience of growing up is packaging yourself up for Instagram, displaying yourself on a dating app like a product. And then in your 20s, turning yourself into a personal brand that has to be monitored and managed all the time. And so I think the difference today is other women were relentlessly sold products and procedures, but we are the product.
I'm going to pause the video there. Absolutely agree 100%. So Freya is spot on here, right? So the way social media turn young girls into performers from such an early age is it baffles me. It really does. Your identity, your insecurities, even your appearance gets all packaged and fed into the algorithm. So that's what we're witnessing now and today in social media. And it's very obvious. I think anyone that has been on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever social media platform you're on, I'm pretty sure you have witnessed this. It's pretty obvious by now. So definitely I agree with this 100%. So let's continue on.
It's very interesting you say that, because when I was reading the book, I remembered this scene in Bowling for Columbine, the documentary by Michael Moore, where they interviewed Marilyn Manson, and he was going, our entire consumer culture is based on fear. You've got pimply skin.
Yeah.
No girls are going to want to date you. Buy this product. You've
Yeah.
got greasy hair. You're going to need this shampoo. And that sprung into my mind when reading about this. This is entirely a fear-based culture, isn't it?
When you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder. Cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume.
Yeah, and also if you are online, that's what the algorithms pick up on very quickly, is fear and insecurity and vulnerability. So companies like Facebook will even track if, a user uses a word like worthless or insecure and then send them an ad. If a girl deletes a selfie, Facebook will send her an advert for a beauty product. And this is the issue with social media, is it will pick up on any small insecurity or vulnerability you have immediately and then serve you more of it. And this is the problem, particularly with adolescent girls, is that it's such a vulnerable time that you don't really have the same amount of agency or discernment to deal with it. It's just, you will feel something, you'll look at it longer, and then it will get out of control very quickly.
Because there's a lot of conservatives who will be like, oh, well, you need to take responsibility, and et cetera, et cetera. And when I hear them, I go, number one, you're male. Number two, you're in your 50s. That's very different from being a 13-year-old girl who's going through puberty and suffering quite a lot of distress as a result of that.
Yeah, I mean, how does a 12-year-old girl compete against billion-dollar industries who are working on making you addicted all the time and have all of the tools and technology to do it, and AI now? I think it's just, Jonathan Haidt talks about it, it's just such a vulnerable age that basically if you're a parent, if you can keep your child off before 16, it's before that when it's really dangerous, because also that's when your self-esteem is forming. That's when your view of men and women is forming. That's when a lot of your brain is developing, a lot of your worldview. And so if we can keep them off in that stage, I think it's critical.
And what makes you vulnerable at that age particularly? A lot of people will either not have experience being an early teen girl or just forget what it's like or whatever. What makes young people and young girls especially so vulnerable?
I think you're acutely aware of your reputation. So social media is all about your reputation and you being ranked and reviewed and publicly measured against other people. So you're going through puberty and you're getting feedback on your developing body and your face, and your life. So you're getting your memories, you're marketing your memories and then getting feedback from that, just like a product. And I think at that time is really when you develop your sense of self and your sense of self-worth. And so I think if you're a particularly anxious girl who doesn't perform well on social media, it kind of sets how you view yourself going forward, because, you know, at such a vulnerable time, you're being told you're lesser than your friends, and it's also being displayed to everybody all the time. So I say in the book, a lot of these things were things that you can't take down or delete. They're happening without your control. So I talk about Ask FM. Do you know Ask FM? So this was like a big.
Okay, so I'm going to pause the video there. So definitely, like I said, very good interview. If you're interested, definitely take a look at it. But let's talk about these two videos, right? Because they're two different videos covering the same topic, okay? And when you put these both videos together and you look at Hallie's survey numbers and Freya's analysis on social media, it really shows the bigger picture. It really does. It really shows the bigger picture. And when you look at social media as a whole and you really pay attention to it, you realize that women are dominating a lot of short form content on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts because their appearance and curated beauty have basically become the brand. You can see this clearly with the rising popularity of female Twitch streamers as well. So definitely, like I said, it's very obvious if you're on social media. But another thing that people fail to mention here, which is biology also plays a role here. Biology actually plays a significant role here. Even the psychology makeup influences how men and women interact and utilize social media. And evolutionary psychologists like David Buss, look him up, very insightful guy, have long shown sex differences in mating strategies and presentation, and women tend to excel in short form content because it's visually driven, the content that emphasizes social connection and attractiveness, while men often gravitates toward longer form content focused on status, competition, and more in-depth topics. That isn't the whole story, but hopefully that explains the patterns that emerge so strongly, right? So the biology also plays a significant role as well. Hopefully that makes sense. So, and to even take this even further, you also have platforms like OnlyFans that no one talks about. Legacy media does not mention this. Most female YouTubers don't even mention this, right? It's a very hush hush topic. OnlyFans. I'm starting to realize that. And anyway, but OnlyFans now have over 4.6 million creators globally, and women are making up roughly about 70 to 89% of them. That's pretty. That's a lot, right? They're pretty much dominating that platform. Anyway, but in the end, it all ties back to what Freya is describing, that young women are being conditioned early to see themselves as the product. Their beauty, their body, their online persona becomes the main currency for likes, followers, attention, and eventually money. Yeah, it's an incredibly effective system for engagement and monetization, but the mental health fallout we're seeing in these surveys and now the courtrooms against Meta and YouTube, it's all impossible to ignore. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I can definitely talk about this for a long time, but you let me know what you guys think. Let me know has social media has simply turned identity and beauty into just another commodity. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Just let me know. I'm definitely interested for sure. But definitely, this is a bit alarming. Anyway, always remember to question things and always read between the lines these days. So I catch you on the next video. Take care.